Located in downtown Phoenix, the Colden Law Group specializes in business and election law, civil and political litigation, as well as evictions and special actions. Call them today at 602-730-2985. That's 602-730-2985. Hub Radio Phoenix is an internet-based podcast platform providing numerous special interest programs reaching over 100,000 viewers per week. Hi, I'm Ron Lutters, executive producer of Hub Radio Phoenix. We don't pretend to be journalists, but we're not afraid to say what's on our minds. We thank you for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to Hub Radio Phoenix. Stay tuned, stay faithful, as the best is yet to come.
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
Hey folks, Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb here. With the increase in private businesses and even government organizations talking about mandating the vaccine, I wanted to let you know that here at the Pinal County Sheriff's Office, we do not mandate the vaccine, and as long as I'm your sheriff, we will never mandate the vaccine. We believe that your health choices are yours and yours alone. So whether you get the vaccine or don't get the vaccine, that's your private information. Here, we believe in America and freedom, and we're going to continue on with that. God bless.
Hi, this is Liz Harris, and I wanted to give a shout out to Hub Radio Phoenix. They have been amazing, especially when I ran for political office. They helped broadcast me, let the world know, and now that I'm involved in election integrity and helping prove that there was massive fraud here in Arizona, they have invited me on their show many times, and I am forever grateful. So please do watch Hub Radio Phoenix for the truth. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martha Llamas, and I own a commercial cleaning company. Now that many people will be getting back to work, let's get your facility ready for them with our total disinfecting, wipe down, and fogging procedures. Our two-step process will help you ensure that your offices are safe. Call me today for a free estimate, and together we can help protect your employees. Thank you, and let's continue to stay safe.
Welcome to Backstreet Gossip, current events, news talk, and political commentary. Now here's your host, Ron Lutter.
Oh, I love that. God,
You do love the applause, don't you?
applause. I was born for the limelight. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea. Here we are, Backstreet Gossip, and it's Monday evening here in Arizona, and I think for the first time in 9 months it's under 100 degrees.
I know, it's been cooling off here.
And that's nice. And look at what I got. I got a genuine clipboard this time.
I'll tell you, you're moving up in the world, Ron Lutters.
Moving up, I'm really so excited about this. We've got a good show for you tonight, but the first thing I want you all to do, I want you to follow us, and I want you to click on share, and I want you to share this show with everybody. We're going to talk about the Arizona audit. Hey, America's audit.
Hey, you know what, Ron? I find that people are calling me from all over the country, and saying that they don't have enough information about what was going on with the audit here. You know, it was a big build-up. They spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of man-hours, all volunteer, and we were able to view it every day. They watched it live stream, and all of a sudden everybody's silent. But we're not silent here.
No,
on
we're
Hub
going
Radio
to talk
Phoenix.
about this. There's a lot of controversy going on here. People saying this, saying that. But the mainstream media doesn't want you to know anything other than the numbers were counted again and Joe Biden won.
And there's a lot of misinformation going out there.
And we're going to talk about that. That's really exciting. We're going to have some really nice people on this show that you've seen before and heard before, and we're going to chat with them, get their opinions. Remember, not everybody's going to agree with what happened here, and they're not going to agree with the results. But we must move forward on this. It's really important because the integrity of our elections, the integrity of America's honor is at stake today.
And not just here in Arizona, but around the country. And you know, there's a lot of other states right now that are working very, very hard to get their own forensic audit done. And a lot of people feel that what they're hearing from mainstream media is kind of taking the air out of the sails in some of these other states. And we want you to know, if you're in any other state, that we support you here. I know that Senator Wendy Rogers is going out there supporting you. And you're going to hear some things tonight here, but we get things directly from the source.
Yes.
This isn't somebody who says, oh, I overheard this, or it's an anonymous source. No, we get it directly from the source.
And we're going to have some people on Wednesday as well that were super involved. We've got Randy Pullen, who gave part of the reports on last Friday, and we're going to have John Brakey, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. And of course, like anything, there's always some discussion. This is true, that's true, we believe this, no, I don't believe that, and we're going to go through all that.
But Ron, you know what doesn't change is the facts. The facts don't change. And I think, and I believe that there were a lot of things that were maybe misconstrued about the whole event that we had last Friday, and that people were focusing on one thing instead of looking at the other. And it seems to me there's a lot of misdirection. I've worked with a lot of magicians that'll say, hey, look at this over here, and then they're doing something completely different on the other side. So we're going to try to expose a lot of the stuff to the best of our ability here tonight with the people who are there firsthand, like I said. And you got to stick around, because this is going to be a fantastic show.
And as an auditor, most of my life, I'm going to tell you some of the things that go on behind the scenes and some of the things that you may not want to hear, but there's a lot of things, believe it or not, that are in the original report and the last minute. Attorneys tell you to take it out. Clients tell you to take it out because it's too controversial, you didn't prove your point, and so forth and so on. But Ray, before we get started, we had another great event down at the Arizona Capitol. On Friday was this event, and then on Saturday we had a great event, and that was the January 6th Free the Prisoners, Free the Political Prisoners.
And you know, we take this to heart because there's a lot of people directly right here from Arizona who have either been arrested and put in jail and now they're out, but some that have been in for more than 10 and a half months that are from Arizona that we actually interviewed, and this was called Justice for J6. We had a lot of key players there, some people who are currently in office, some people who are running for office, and this was put together just to make people aware of actually what's going on behind the scenes, because as Americans, we don't believe that some of these things can be happening in our country, but they are.
And that's true. You know, we had some really, really great people. The one guy, Cowboys for Trump. Wow, what a testimony this man had. And we're not gonna play that tonight, but we will play that because it's really, it was really sad when the man said he was put in a jail cell that was worse than third world countries with bugs. It was infestated with bugs and not clean. And I don't think any American citizen should have to go, especially in the capital of the United States.
Yeah, you know, I've seen conditions around the world in many different places. Luckily, I've never been in prison outside the country. But
Well, you've been in prison inside the country.
you wouldn't expect you wouldn't expect that that things like this are actually happening in the United States. Especially when you think of places like California, where they provide law libraries, and you provide lots of things that are going on. Hopefully the volume is still happening. Looks like we got a little bit of a freeze on the video portion, but we're correcting this. You don't expect a lot of these things to take place. You know, in California, and we had a business in California very close to 3 prisons, minimum, medium, and maximum. And if somebody got hurt, they would actually fly them out of California into Nevada and for any of the services, and they would take top priority. Now, this is for somebody who's committed a crime in the state of California. So you would not expect that in the District of Columbia, in our nation's capital, that you would have substandard conditions in the prison. You just wouldn't expect this to happen.
Just for our audience, we seem to have
is full of misinformation. News stories on the surface may seem real, but under closer scrutiny are fake. Corruption and fraud are everywhere. There's a better political news and information website, BackstreetGossip.com, where you'll find the latest stories and information that's circling the media world. You'll see stories of the day and stories that will be discussed tomorrow. BackstreetGossip.com will provide you with informative content that any reader would be amazed to gossip about. BackstreetGossip.com, providing information from Earth and beyond.
Hello, everyone. It is Ray Michaels for Street Talk here, and this is Hub Radio Phoenix. I'm here with Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Wow, what an event you had here today at the state capitol.
It turned out really great.
Now, this was called Justice for J6.
Justice for J6.
And I thought, who's J6? No, January 6th, of course. This is big news. You got a lot of heavy hitters backing this event.
And we need them to help get the word out, because I think a lot of people don't realize what is happening to the political prisoners from January 6th, don't realize, you know, some of the charges that they have been facing or the conditions that they're having to deal with. So as fellow citizens, we need to get out there and, you know, cause some waves and make people understand what's going on.
Now, we have some local statesmen that are here that are actually going to the prison, trying to get in, see the conditions that are happening. Paul Gosar comes to mind.
Yes, and he was actually at our last rally on July 14th as well. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us today, but he has tried to go to the prison, and he's working for them. So
they would not let them in. I don't know if you saw this footage, but look that up. This is crazy that you can be an elected official representing tens of thousands of people, and they say, no, we're not going to let you in.
Right. I mean, who's pulling the strings there, and why can't they go in there and help those people and speak to them at least, you know?
And you know, this is so important because I understand that a lot of the charges that are brought against some of these prisoners that are being held illegally. You know, we do have amendments that say swift, fair trial, being treated correctly. But some things are like you weren't allowed to be on this secret spot or something.
Well, I see one charge that comes across a lot called parading. Those people in there, they weren't violent, not carrying weapons. They were accused of parading.
And what is that from a legal standpoint?
Boy, you're going to have to go pull an attorney over. That's above my pay grade.
No, this really, you need to get involved in this. And tell us the name of your organization.
I'm Julie with Look Ahead America, and Look Ahead Arizona planned the event today for us.
Now, Look Ahead America, Look Ahead Arizona, you're obviously the name, Look Ahead, but what are some of the factors? Because I know this is a 501c3.
We're a 501c3. We are working to make sure every person who can be legally registered to vote in the state of Arizona is registered. And so we're just trying to make sure that, we can fight for the integrity and make sure that everybody's legally registered.
And boy, do we need that ever after hearing that audit report. Wow. All right, Julie, how do they get in touch with your organization?
You can go to lookaheadarizona.org and lookaheadamerica.org.
Wow. Well, this is Julie from Look Ahead Arizona and America. And you had a wonderful event here. Thanks for organizing this. A lot of heavy hitters, a lot of people running for office, a lot of current representatives for in elected office. So this was fantastic to have you here. Thank you so much. Again, this is Julie from Look Ahead Arizona. I'm Ray Michaels for Street Talk, and that's Hub Radio Phoenix. Until next time, we'll see you real soon.
world is full of misinformation. News stories on the surface may seem real, but under closer scrutiny are fake. Corruption and fraud are everywhere. There's a better political news and information website, BackstreetGossip.com, where you'll find the latest stories and information that's circling the media world. You'll see stories of the day and stories that will be discussed tomorrow. BackstreetGossip.com will provide you with informative content that any reader would be amazed to gossip about. BackstreetGossip.com, providing information from Earth and beyond.
Which, Ron, I think that's the way that we should go.
Well,
You want to hear from the people.
First of all, let me tell you about audits, because it's really important we understand what an audit
Now,
is.
how do you know about audit?
Went to school.
So you're a professional.
I was paid to do it, and I've been an auditor for approximately 20 years or more, in all types of auditing, financial, procedural, and of course this one is an extremely interesting audit. And so let's talk about the way this started. The Board of Supervisors said you don't have any proof that you need an audit. You don't need proof to do an audit. Audits are about compliance. And hopefully, when you do an audit, you'll find that the parties were in compliance.
All
That's
right.
ideal.
So, Ron, let me ask you a question. Liz, this is for you too, right? We shop at big box stores, right? We shop at Home Depot, we shop at Walmart, we shop at lots of different places, right? And so every year, that company is audited to make sure that things are done correctly, right?
Well, several things. One is procedural audit.
Right,
To
but
make
there
sure
are,
that they're doing things properly within the company.
Right.
Financial audits are another thing. Shareholders want to know if they're getting their dividends. Government wants to know if they're getting their taxes. And of course, the corporation wants to know that they're not violating any rules and regulations.
I guess my point is, Liz, it's commonplace for large companies that have a lot of working and moving parts to audit it to make sure that things are done correctly.
Correct.
Now, considering that me as a citizen of the United States, my vote is one of the most important and sacred things that I will ever do as a good citizen, I would want to make sure that that is correct. And so audits really should be commonplace, especially in the voting procedure. Would you agree?
Correct. But it's a full audit that is required. So if I can give you my HOA as an example, there are 3 different types of audits that we can do on an annual basis. And with the HOA, when you have a professional management company, you want to make sure everything's being checked. So you can do a limited, or a review they call it, or you can do a limited or a full audit. Well, on this election for 2020, based on everything that people saw, the citizens of Arizona, we said we want a full audit. But what's amazing about this audit is that when my HOA, Homeowners Association, for those of you who are out of state, when my HOA is audited and the auditor asks the person running the management company for documents, they run and they get the documents. They don't say, no, well, I'm going to give you these documents, but not these documents. I'm going to let you look at these computer screens, but I'm not going to let you look at these
It's
computer
full
screens.
disclosure.
Correct.
And generally, you expect that there's going to be full cooperation. And in this case, the Board of Supervisors of Maricopa County ridiculously us as they are, saying, well, first of all, you don't have any reason to do an audit. And once again, you don't have proof. You don't need proof. You just have to have somebody that's entire authority to say we're going to do an audit. In this case, the Senate has plenary responsibility for our audits. That's in the United States Constitution. To make no mistake about it, it's their responsibility.
So it's like a misnomer, but almost even a lie to say to somebody, you don't have proof to justify an audit.
And you don't need proof. That's not that's not the criteria. Like I say, it's about compliance. It's not about guilt. Okay, it's not about deviating, although it could be. That depends on the results. But the really important thing here is the fact that when you go into these things, you've got to have full cooperation. Now, in the private sector, what you get, you don't put a subpoena out, you put a data request out. And they usually have 10 days to give you the data. And they can ask for a data request coming the other way. What are we doing? You know, and so it's data requests generally work both ways. But here, the Board of Supervisors has been constant, and we still don't have everything, Liz. We don't have the routers. There's a lot of things, the spunk logs, right? We don't have. There's many things that are not there that should be there. But you know, here's what's happening right now. And I knew this was happening, and I watched it even on Fox, and I thought they'd go into more detail. They keep saying, well, we recounted the ballots, and Biden still won. And he won by even greater numbers. Well, there's something called garbage in, garbage out. So the first time you count it and you have this problem, okay? The second time you count the same things, you're going to have the same problems.
You know, if
Things that don't change, and this is a quote, things that don't change, Ray, remain the same. So let's do a little.
What great wise man said that?
I did. Any rate, let me ask you this.
Liz, if you buy an empty computer and you program it, you put in 1 + 1 = 3, and it's programmed in the computer. Every time you ask the computer that question, how much is 1 + 1, it's going to spit out 3, even though that's not correct. It's how I programmed it to do, right? Right. So if the whole election process was programmed to have a certain result, no matter how many times you audit it, it's going to come up with that same result because I programmed that in.
Correct.
Now, I want to do a little spearmint here.
A spearmint?
No, not spearmint. Spearmint, like in gum.
X.
Ray, do you have a $5 bill?
I think I do. Hang on.
I'm going to give you change. I'm going to give you 5 ones for a $5 bill.
All right.
Okay, so right here, I've got yours.
Here's 5. Abraham Lincoln. Here it is right there.
Okay.
Are we allowed to show this?
And here's George Washington. Okay, so I'm going to take your 5, and I'm going to give you 5 in return.
Okay. Count it out.
1,
right?
2, 3. Oh, this is a little anemic. 4, 5. Count them, Ray.
All right.
See how many are there.
All right. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except one doesn't feel the same as the other ones. This one doesn't feel the same. The picture, I don't recognize that. It does say $1. Well, it looks like one of the founding fathers, Ron Letters. Looks like Ron Letters.
Actually, it's a picture of me.
So I do have 5 bills that say $1 on it.
Okay, so
one doesn't seem correct.
But maybe, just maybe, not all the ballots were correct. There should have been in there. In the batches that they counted, like 60,000. We'll get into that in a minute. So Liz, why don't you count them? Is there 5 there?
Yep, there's certainly 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if the 5th one is not a legal dollar bill, then it should not be
You mean to tell
included
me
in
we
the
might
total.
have some things in there that shouldn't be?
So it doesn't matter that it says 1 on it. It doesn't matter that it says United States of America on it. It doesn't matter that it was issued in
It has a
Denver.
beautiful picture of Ron Letters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that it's front and back and the back looks good. It doesn't matter that the coloring is different, the paper is different, the picture's different. That doesn't matter. It's just one that I counted.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my contention that no matter how many times you count this 5 will equal those 5.
Well,
even though we know that one of those 5 doesn't belong there.
I demand my money back.
Folks, do you understand what we're saying here? Okay. We have things in the count that should not be there. So no matter how many times you count garbage going in, the count's going to always look the same. And that is not an audit. That's a futility of counting.
So Liz, the numbers that were released that are all across mainstream media, where Biden still won even after an audit, factually, is that correct?
Factually, that is correct.
But
And that's all you're hearing in the news.
realistically, and if those numbers were obtained under discrepancies or anomalies or, I don't know what you'd say, under false pretenses, does that number still matter?
No.
Okay.
So, since we're going over the paper, there were many different papers used. They were not vote secure paper when you went to a polling location. It was, and there's going to be stuff coming out on this, and I'll just leave it at this. I'm not even sure if Cyber Ninjas knows about this. I would hope so. But there, essentially, there were, I think the report alluded to this, there were many, many different types
I
of
believe there are
papers.
7 different types of paper used for the ballots.
And here is my assertion, that was intentional. That was not an accident. Do you remember Sharpiegate?
Now,
Well, if you have ballot secure paper, you're not going to have the bleed through.
so is there statute currently with Arizona that says that a particular paper has to be used or a certain vendor has to be used or
I
is there anything?
do not know what the statute is, but maybe your next guess
Our
is.
next guess
But
will
we're
be-
supposed to be using ballot secure paper, yes, voter secure paper.
So what we have here, I think the bottom line on this whole thing, let's cut to the bottom line. This was totally mismanaged by the Board of Supervisors.
At
And
so
you guys
many
are
different
guilty of either criminal negligence, and that's a big word, criminal negligence, or criminal intent.
So it was at so many different levels,
Yes.
so many.
And, you know, they don't want to use these words, right? And, you know, that's my opinion, that when you start counting these guys with my picture on them, and you count those as regular, now you've got $10 rate.
Well, there is a fee that I charge.
Okay, it's $1 limit. Anyway, but the bottom line on this is total and absolute mismanagement. Now, the press does not want you to know this, and not only that, but these things were leaked, once again, leaked in advance. Now, it's no secret, a lot of people probably don't know this, but it's no secret that the Board of Supervisors put together a special video, and it was aired over the weekend on at least CNN, if not other channels, and it had with it Bill Gates, one of the supervisors, and Richards, Stephen Richards, of all people, who wasn't even in office at this time.
He had no involvement.
He had no involvement, and yet he's there as though he's an expert on this. And Steve, I'm really pretty shocked at that. Now, you're an attorney, so I guess that gives you...
Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he instrumental in finding the anomalies that happened in the 2018 election, right? And he wrote a big report.
Yes, he did.
And did you read that report?
I did.
All right, so what was in that report that now all of a sudden didn't happen in the last election?
I'm not sure why he has done this reversal on this thing. First of all, I don't believe he should have been involved because he was not involved as a political leader.
There is no way that he would know if it was done correctly or was not done correctly because he was in the middle of the process.
And the one person person that I think had the most to do with this is Richard Beatty, that's Fontes. And Fontes is nowhere to be found in terms of he should, in my opinion, much of this is his fault.
Shouldn't he be brought in for questioning?
I would agree to that 100%. And I would, if I were doing this audit, I would have that deposition given. So we have this problem that, first of all, the press is misrepresenting this audit as though the recount was the most important thing and showed that Biden won. And not only that, but the election was, if there was any problem, it was that they miscounted Biden's numbers by several hundred. That's another issue. Federal election laws are that you can have one error per every 250,000 votes. Well, there are over 2 million. That means there could be no more than 9. If they had 200, you've got another problem. Why do we have such a big gap? And I think a lot of that can be because it was not managed properly.
So Liz, I'm curious, because you've been working so hard ever since the election, 10.5 months, canvassing, you've met so many people, you've been on the ground, boots on the ground, you've spoken to thousands and thousands of people. When you heard the report, what was your view in its entirety?
Okay, so we canvassed, we found a lot of the anomalies. We let the world know what those anomalies were. This audit was, in my mind, designed to help us explain why those anomalies were happening. And unfortunately, for the amount of money that was spent on this audit, I would give this audit a 7 out of a 10. I think part of it is the lack of cooperation. I think part of it is the design of the audit, but understand that the design of the audit, that came from our legislators, our elected officials. And they decided that the count was what was important. And what our canvassers had been finding is that people were saying, I voted and there was no vote registered for them. So that ballot is not going to be in the pile. What happened to that ballot?
It's not going to be counted.
Right.
It's like it didn't ever happen.
Then there were votes coming from people who did not live in the state or who did not live at the residence that we canvassed at the time of the election. So why are their votes counting? And then a third category, and that includes the vacant lots and all the good things. A third category is people who stated that they voted in person on election day, and yet a mail-in ballot was counted for them. So that vote will not be right. Now, I personally believe that there was manipulation of both envelopes and ballots based on all the testimony I've heard, all the national experts I speak with around the country. And then if we remember, the first time Ken Bennett, Doug Logan, and Ben Cotton went before the Senate a few months ago, they mentioned that the ballots had been tampered, the seals, the tamper-resistant seals had been broken. There were ballots missing from batches. The batch counts weren't right. So for anyone not to see through this and say there was tampering with the ballots, and now after Dr. Shiva's presentation, and if you read a really good New York Post article that came out recently, The Confessions of a Ballot Harvester, who basically collected envelopes, and the envelopes were worth everything. You can start putting all of this together. I'm going to tell you right now, this Arizona audit should not be over. We are just beginning to scratch the surface, and we need to continue until we get to the bottom of how this happened.
You know, I remember, Ron, in particular, the duplicate ballots, right? There were boxes, and I don't even know if there were pallets full. It said duplicate ballots on it, yet on a duplicate ballot, you have to have the original, the duplicate, and they're both numbered so that you can put them together. But these just said duplicate ballots on it, and there was nothing to go along with it, and no numbers written on it. So right there, they didn't follow procedure just in that one section, let alone the many that you said. I mean, where do we go from here, Liz?
There's still more information to come out. I'm hoping that Dr. Shiva does the full signature analysis. And I hate to use the word hope, but I'm hoping that when Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's final report comes out, that is fully included so that the American public can see what Jovan found, because there's going to be more stuff there. And then we will continue to canvass Maricopa County, because we're finding stuff in the canvas. But I guess part of my question, Ray and Ron, why, all right, and then there's one more thing, and that is the special master has been appointed to basically look at the routers, to look at the log files. But here, okay, so I'm going to make another statement. They drag this on and on and on, and what does it do to the volunteers, to the people working on this? It wears you out. They want us to give up. What is happening not just in the state of Arizona, but around the country? Unfortunately, the Republican Party in many, many states is starting to say, we're not going to call this election fraud, we're not going to be looking at election integrity anymore. It's time to pick up, get our candidates in place, and start fundraising. And that is a trend that is happening throughout the country, because we've exhausted people and they just want to move on. But that is a massive mistake, because if we don't get to the bottom of 2020, we will not fix 2022, 2024.
And exactly what happened before. I mean, you can fundraise as much as you want, and you can campaign as much as you want, and you can convince everybody to go along with you as a candidate as much as you want, but if they control what's happening behind the scenes, you could be the winner, but you're the loser. So what's the point with moving forward if you can't correct what we know to be the issue?
Well, you know, as we look at this, once again, the headlines try to tell the people there's nothing to see here, move along. And
Sounds like a magician.
right, when we do this nonsense of saying, once again, we counted all these ballots, whether they were countable or not, and we're going to go over this in the next segment, Mr. DeSanti, and we're going to go over the ballots that were not properly signed. We're going to go over, again, the ballots that were duplicated, some of them even, as I recall, triplicated.
And quadruplicated.
Were there some quadruplicated?
Yes.
Those ballots, Mr. DeSanti, can you take us out, because we're going to get some more guests here. We're due at 7:15 with some other people. But we're going to deal with people that voted in other counties and in Maricopa County, and in other states and in Maricopa County. Now, if you think that's fair, you don't understand the election process. One person, it used to be one man, but now, deference to our lady here, Liz Harris, one person, one vote. You don't get to vote for two different counties. You don't get to vote for two different states. And you don't get to duplicate, triplicate, and quadruplicate your ballots. That's a no-no. If you don't understand that, you don't have any business being elected. So, if we could move on here, Mr. DeSanti.
Stick around. Great things
Okay,
happening.
there is more to come, and we've got some real heavy hitters coming up here in the next segment. So just stand by, and we'll see you then. Do not go away. That's an order.
security matters more than ever. Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
Are you tired of the long lines and impersonal service you get at the post office? Well, we have a solution for you. Pack Mail is an all-in-one mail center conveniently located in the Fry Shopping Center at 3218 East Bell Road, right here in Phoenix. Owned and operated by Arizona residents Mark and Vicky Battaglia, you can be sure of getting personalized professional service. They will pack, crate, freight, and ship your items anywhere in the world. They work with all the major carriers like DHL, UPS, USPS, and Federal Express. Need an address for your home business or startup company? They have P.O. boxes on site where you can receive and pick up your mail anytime, and their knowledgeable and courteous staff will find a way to ship that awkward or heavy item. You can even have your packages picked up and delivered for a small fee. Their motto is, if you can imagine it, we can ship it. Drop in on the good folks at Pack Mail and let them do the work for you. Pack Mail can be reached at 602-971-2300 or email at info@weshipphoenix.com. That's Pack Mail, 602-971-2300 or info@weshipphoenix.com.
Located in downtown Phoenix, the Colden Law Group specializes in business and election law, civil and political litigation, as well as evictions and special actions. Call them today at 602-730-2985. That's 602-730-2985.
Hey folks, Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb here. With the increase in private businesses and even government organizations talking about mandating the vaccine, I wanted to let you know that here at the Pinal County Sheriff's Office, we do not mandate the vaccine, and as long as I'm your sheriff, we will never mandate the vaccine. We believe that your health choices are yours and yours alone, so whether you get the vaccine or don't get the vaccine, that's your private information. Here, we believe in America and freedom, and we're going to continue on with that. God bless.
Hi, I'm Marta Llamas and I own a commercial cleaning company. Now that many people will be getting back to work, let's get your facility ready for them with our total disinfecting, wipe down, and fogging procedures. Our two-step process will help you ensure that your offices are safe. Call me today for a free estimate, and together we can help protect your employees. Thank you, and let's continue to stay safe.
You're watching Backstreet Gossip, news talk, current events, and political commentary with your host, Ron Leonard. Now, let's return to the show. Well, hello, and thank you for hanging in there. We're having a few technical difficulties, and we're not sure what it is. And that's a little disturbing. It's COVID. It's COVID? Okay, and tonight we have, of course, Liz Harris. Thank you for being here. And then we have Josh Barnett sitting next to me, and thank you for being here. And then on the phone, we have one of my all-time heroes, and that is Gunny Sonny Borelli of the famous Kelly Borelli, what's that saying?
Kelly Borelli.
Yeah. Hello, hello, Senator.
Hello, how are y'all doing tonight?
Well, we're doing, for those of you that don't know Sonny, he is a United States Marine, and once a Marine, always a Marine. Thank you for your service, sir. And, thank you. Now, when I call you sir, Sergeant, you're supposed to say, don't call me sir, I work for a living.
Well, I didn't didn't want to interrupt you. I was respecting your senior status.
Oh, Jesus. Now, Senator, are you in your district right now?
I am. Finally, my district says, finally, Johnny, we need to talk to you. I'm like, okay, I'm here.
Are you out on the lake there?
No, heck, I haven't been on that lake in years. Yeah.
It's still there, isn't it?
Oh, it's still there. I just never get to enjoy it.
Well, you're traveling so much. You got a lot on your plate.
I know I have more windshield time in my car than I did all those 18 years of rodeo.
Oh, man. Well, we do appreciate you being on the show with us, especially, I saw you in the background on the TV the other day, and, I could see you were kind of excited about some of the things that went on there. I don't know if you've seen the first part of the show. I'm going to give you my overview just so that you know. I'm very disappointed in what I saw, especially in the point where they keep saying, well, we counted the ballots again, and we got pretty much the same answer, except we got a couple hundred more. Ballots are not audits. When you count, that's a recount. It has nothing to do with an audit. It's the procedure, the process that goes on. And
Well, then you should not have been disappointed.
well, I was disappointed that
Because all we're doing is analyzing the data that the county gave, the numbers that are supposedly on, the machines and whatnot, and the ballots. And of course, there's certain bubble counts. But what was more standing out was the fact that there were ballots, there were envelopes that got injected in the system, along
me
with
just a
those
minute,
ballots
Neil.
that had those
Can you focus
signatures.
that? You're out of focus. Go ahead, honey.
Repeat what you said about the envelopes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My God.
Thank you.
What we should be focusing on is the anomalies, such as ballot envelopes that had no signature on it, ballot envelopes that had a little squiggle or something like that, doesn't even come close to the signature. And then we had duplicate ballots, all the stuff that basically Liz Harris has been canvassing about, okay, vindicates everything she's been doing, that we have ghost voters in there, that the county allowed ballots to be submitted through the mail or drop-off box that had no signature whatsoever, and signature verification was out the door. So we had ethically unlawful ballots in the system. So which means those numbers that they had are almost irrelevant, because it means that what the real data is that was injected in the system by not following the law, by literally breaking the law, overlooking the law, however you want to classify it, that we had ghost ballots in the system. And how did they get there? That's the most telling thing, especially when you listen to Dr. Shiba's report on the ballot envelopes. I mean, that was amazing, because that just tells you right there, just because, okay, if you have $1,000 and 200 of those dollars are counterfeit, do you still have $1,000? The answer is no, you have 800. But by referring all this to the Attorney General, the Attorney General can determine what is counterfeit and what's not. You follow? If you got, like I said, if you got $200 that's counterfeit, you just don't say that's counterfeit. You have to have competent authority to verify that it's counterfeit. That's what law enforcement does. That's what the Attorney General. That's why we're looking for a lot of that stuff to the Attorney General. And I'm really afraid that he analyzes all the stuff that Liz Harris and literally gives it to him on a little phone. All they gotta do is just confirm. Now, bottom line is this: if you have ballots that were submitted via mail or drop-off that had no signature on it, those are illegitimate ballots. So therefore, that count that they have is a bogus count. If the county said, or what's physical. Now, then you got to analyze the ballot itself and find out if there's Xerox copies, all that stuff that has been out there about Xerox copy ballots. Those are considered counterfeit ballots. That needs to be analyzed. And by the way, that is yet to be determined and it's been finalized yet. They're still working on it. They're verifying that information. And when that gets all verified, technically that's physical evidence. It has to be returned over to the Attorney General. So that chain of custody of evidence is going going to have to stay intact. That gets the first Attorney General. They know where to look to find this stuff, and they can fulfill, and they can start and complete and fulfill a criminal investigation. Because this is where this has gone now. We've identified numerous violations of the law. We have identified people that perpetrated some stuff that they get turned over to the Attorney General for criminal actions, a criminal look at it and verify all the findings that we have. We have deleted data. We have evidence that's been destroyed. We have the chain of custody issues. Bottom line is, this was an illegitimately run election. And technically, it should have never been certified in the first place. But that goes to the Attorney General to verify all the findings from the team. The audit team, it's not their place to say what is fraud and what's not. Their job is to report and we decide.
Well, let me.
And I think that was very telling. What we heard on Friday.
Let me go over this. We'll start out with Dr. Shiva, of whom I have a great deal of respect for. He's a brilliant man. When they were going through those, and you've seen the signatures, or lack of saying, and you saw it's okay to count this ballot. Now, one of the things that was very, very troubling to me, I've heard is an example of, well, they made phone calls, and they just stamped the ballot after they called and found out that was a real person. Every one of those 17,000 plus ballots that they had difficulties with had somebody that had checked them out. As an auditor, okay, I don't take somebody's word for it that 17,000 phone calls were made. I want to see on that document, we called so-and-so at this date, who called, and what the result was.
Was there somebody there to verify that the phone call was made and that it was made?
It's not verifiable. If it's not verifiable, you can't audit it.
So, Liz,
If you can't audit it, it doesn't, you just throw it out.
So, Liz, can you share with us what we talked off camera with regard to the way that they're going to...
Stop. So if you fill out the envelope, you can't throw out the ballot, because you cannot marry the ballot up.
That's true. And they're in.
The bottom line is this, you identify this stuff. Now, the names, if you notice, the names are redacted on that stuff, because of privacy issues. We wanted to make sure that stuff, that evidence stays intact. But the real identity will be obviously disclosed to the Attorney General. So let them, law enforcement, make those phone calls. Because they can literally swear in court, or license in court, obviously certified to give testimony for criminal and civil prosecution. There's only 3 people in Arizona that's allowed to do that. They have to be licensed in civil and criminal prosecution. One is obviously law enforcement. Number 2 is an insurance investigator. And number 3, by the way, is a private investigator. They have to be licensed. That was one of the things that I like after the Florida radar company shut down for 4 months. Because they were doing stuff like PI, and they were not licensed, and that's the Attorney General shut them down for 4 months. They had to get licensed to PI. So but that kind of stuff, those investigators go through that and verify all that stuff, and they can call, hey, Mr. Johnson, by the way, I'm from the Attorney General's office. I've got this ballot envelope here. It had no signature on it. Did you vote? If they can even, by the way, even if they, I don't even believe they'll be able to find that. And that's what's going to be very compelling when you start comparing the notes between what they physically have and what Liz Harris would have. For example, like Liz has said that she has a vacant property. It's been vacant. There's no mailbox, but there's a whole bunch of people that want to vote there. How do these votes get in the system? The ballots get in the system. They're not supposed to be forwarded, which is a violation of the law. They should have been returned to sender. Now, if they went back to run that, how do they still get back to the system? This is all criminal activity that needs to be verified and confirmed by law enforcement.
Sonny, we have in the studio, we have Josh Barnett, who has been quite an activist for as long as I've known him. I've known you for probably a year and a half. What's your opinion? I know you're down there.
Well, exactly what Sonny's saying. I mean, everything he's saying is 100% true. You know, you have 23,000 ballots, or up to 55,000 total that are highly suspect. And, you know, if you take a look at those are illegal ballots, they should be removed from the count. But then what percent of those votes were for Biden? Where do they come from? You know, just like Sonny's saying, we gotta find out, we gotta dig into it and get exact specifics on it. And we can no longer just use generalities to get things done. We have to get specific. Hopefully, Brendovich does that. But I have my reservations, but I hope he does, and I hope he moves forward with it.
And all of this is only one small part of that big picture. There's a lot of moving parts. This is only one part. Senator, I wanted to ask you, what would you say in your opinion, because you've been there, right, boots on the ground since the very beginning, what is the minimum threshold that would warrant a decertification?
Well, right off the bat, hooked up to the internet. That's a violation of federal law and state law.
All right, so we've already met that threshold.
Yeah, okay, so there's so many different, everybody look at that one smoking gun. For me, it's I have my smoking gun, but there's been so many things that have been injected into the system, and it's completely violated the whole process, the whole electoral system. And so for me, I just look at a couple of things and I'm like, I'm done. If you're deleting data, violation of federal law and state law, you're destroying evidence. Chain of custody is a joke from day one, perpetrated by the county supervisors. You have ballots that injected in the system that should have never been in the first place. And we have, obviously, and I'm waiting for that other report to come out on the actual ballot paper, if there is confirmed Xerox copies of ballots, manufactured ballots other than the hand bubble in. But I look at the machine took the internet, and that's a violation of federal law. That's a national security issue for me. End of conversation, control, alt, delete, whatever you want to say, checkmate, whatever. Now, that's what it is with me. Now, getting to your question, what does it take to nullify and reclaim the electors? It's simple, 16 and 31. Simple answer.
All right, and are we there? Are we there with that?
No, we're not.
So what do we, the people, need to do here in the state of Arizona to pressure our elected officials to say this is what we want?
Well, the governor, there's three ways that this can be brought in, okay? The governor calls us in for a special session, which I would not hold my breath, okay? He would not call us in for a special session for that. Number two, under state law, we need to have 20 votes in the House, 40 votes in the House, 20 votes in the Senate to call ourselves in. However, this is a federal issue, and I believe we only need a 31 and 16 simple majority. We already have Paul Boyer that's gone out saying that every Republican senator is a liar, and that we've all been lying to the people, and that this audit was a sham, and that we should apologize to the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. Fat sham. Hell will please open before I do that. So he's already out already. I mean, the day right after the office briefing was done. And by the way, he's sat there the whole time on the Senate chamber, watching and getting the same briefing I got, you got, the whole world saw. And he still walks away with thinking that this is nothing. And he said, Biden won, here's the vote count that you got. And just completely ignored everything else of the evidence that was being presented. Which is amazing. But he, from day one, he walked out and started tweeting that out that we should be Ocean County apologists. And then he's been doubling down on that, telling constituents when they're emailing him that Biden won and we're all lying. So, bottom line is, he's our 16th Republican vote. We have 16 Republican senators. We have 31 Republican House members. We don't even have the House members. We don't even have 31 in the House. There's a couple of people over there that are addicts, never suffered, and some are just, which way the wind blows. But in the Senate, all I know right off the bat is Paul Boyer. He's the one that's been vocal. So it's going to matter of time to convince Paul Boyer to, let's have another special session. You know what? Make your argument on the Senate floor and justify why you think we should not reclaim the electors. Justify to the world why you think that there was not enough sufficient evidence to reclaim the electors. Not award them to Donald Trump. Just reclaim them. Just reclaim them. Because technically, you should not award them to anybody.
Exactly. Josh, it seems to me that people are losing sight. They're thinking that this is all about Trump, but it's really not. It's about the integrity of the election, and did my vote, and your vote, and Liz's vote, and Ron's vote count, and was everything done according to policy, procedure, statute? Was it done correctly? I don't think that Boyer can honestly say everything was done correctly. Whether you like Trump or not, was it done correctly?
We can always bring Boyer on here and talk to him like I did with Chucha.
Yeah.
Here's another little nice little nugget that the media went to sleep over. You know, there are 2 county supervisors that barely won their election. Wait a minute. Didn't their Democrat opponent, did they get cheated?
Exactly.
Did they get cheated? We don't know. They were scared. Chupa said that they were scared to death that we were going to look at the down ticket and figure out that they may have won or lost. I mean, they were afraid that we were going to look at that. And, maybe we should have.
Well, Gunny, here.
But the bottom line is this. It's not Republican or Democrat, Donald Trump or Biden. This is about free and fair elections. I serve with the consent of the government. If that consent has been compromised, has been undermined, and voided out, we're no longer a constitutional republic. We're a banana republic. We're not having elections. We're having appointments. And that, I didn't sign up for that when I was 18 years old.
Yeah, right.
And I take that oath very seriously. You know what, I might make a mistake on certain votes here and there in the legislature. But, whatever, I'll own up to it and say, hey, I made a mistake. But this is a hill I'm dying. This is a national security issue. This is about the country. I wish we could come back into a special session and vote on this issue. Unfortunately, we do not have the support of the entire Republican caucus in the Senate. And, by the way, we need the House to concur. And there's a couple of never-Trumpers over there. They don't want to hear any evidence. They just their minds made up. And you know what's amazing? All these people that are opposed to that kind of activity all live in Maricopa County. Why is it that the rural legislators have really stepped up?
Yeah. So Liz, this is just, it drives me crazy.
I mean, Kelly Townsend lives here. Well, she's in another county, but I think what's the Patrick Duncan? I don't know. But
I still think that's
Part of it, I think, is Maricopa. Part of
So Liz, it's my understanding that there was something prior to Sine Die that once we received the full audit, that there could be an automatic back to session specifically for them.
That's correct. Senator Borelli, isn't that part of what you were saying? Did you hear Larry's question? Go ahead.
Passed the bill, when it was in the budget, one of the budget votes, we would actually have a committee put together to examine the audit report. Now of course, the court action that came out today was ridiculous, and even though that's going to be appealed. However, the Judiciary Chairman can call the committee. We don't have to be in session to call a committee.
And that's Warren Peterson.
So explain what came out today.
Wait, before we come, explain. Senator Borelli, the people of Arizona were screaming for a second session to be started and to be recessed, and we were so that when the audit results came out, that second session could resume. And we were falsely told that, don't worry, we've got this covered. And now what I'm hearing you say is that this wasn't covered. And I'm not trying to be hard on you. I'm trying to say that we were told something, and it's not coming to fruition.
Everybody wants their instant mashed potatoes, Liz.
That's not instant mashed potatoes. That's
This happened Friday. This happened Friday. We have just started this process. Everybody, this audit completely, it's not even completely done yet. There are still things being analyzed that still need to come back to the Senate. And of course, the other thing that the county has that they still haven't given us, I think, that's given us is still under subpoena. So these are things, this is not over. This portion of the audit was concluded and what was done at the Coliseum. There's more stuff that's being done. Things being referred to the Attorney General, I think is a better fast track. Because if we find out this is criminal, this election was illegal, that's game over. That's game over.
Well, Gunny, let me.
Let me finish, because Liz posed this. Okay, and I got earplugs in, so I don't know how loud I am. The committee chair, the judiciary chair can call a committee and we can analyze or make recommendations here, whatever we want. We can make a decision for which way we want to go on certain things for legislation or further action. Karen Fan said we're going to refer all this evidence to the Attorney General for a criminal investigation, and that's by the way, folks, that's huge. That's huge. And that was right from get-go when she said so. But when she opened up before the briefing, that's a huge thing. We've got enough evidence here to refer to the Attorney General for criminal investigation. And that guess what? There's people that we can hang that hat on, and they can be charged. That's everybody's just worrying about flipping elections. Everybody wants people to go to jail. I want these perpetrators to go to jail. I want them to be charged. People need to be held accountable for this. Gosh, folks, look, this is a long battle. This is not a quick battle, quick, easy. This is going to be a long fight. We were up against the entire world on this. The media went out with a release. Okay, what's his name? Liddy, their attorney from Maricopa County. He released to the press a incomplete draft of the report. It's an incomplete draft. And they ran with that to prepare and to have their own narrative to put out the start suspended and things before they even had one word of the audit report being read.
Okay.
Well, we know who his father is, and we recognize his acorn doesn't fall far from the tree.
Senator, just for clarification, was there any type of provision that was set up in the legislature that after all, and this is to the best of your knowledge, after everything was done with regard to the audit, that a special session could be held based on that audit?
There was a special committee that was Townsend's bill we put in the budget. It was a special committee for this. Of course, the court just, tried to shut that down, but it doesn't matter because we can still perform that through a judiciary committee.
So tell us, what was the lawsuit that would prevent what you did do from that happening?
The School Board Association sued the state because there was over school funding. They said the single subject rule. And this judge, apparently, I guess, a very liberal judge, but every all the provisions in that one budget term that it affects. And that is the mask mandates. And there was a School Board Association that sued because of the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates and stuff like that. A whole bunch of stuff kind of got tied into that to include the ballot that had the counterfeit countermeasures on it. That's part of that budget burn. And so this judge, we're going to appeal it. The Attorney General's going to step up, and obviously, I'm pretty sure he's going to fight against that, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I'm sure the Supreme Court's going to overturn the lower court because you've got 30 years of precedent already. But with the School Board Association, it's all about them getting money for the schools and everything else because of the Prop 208, that kind of thing, where, they want to tax the rich kind of thing for schools, which is a joke.
Thanks for that clarification.
So that got tied into all that in that court action. So I'm sure the Attorney General is going to say, hey, we want an injunction on all this stuff until the Supreme Court rules on it. So.
Well, Sonny, one of the things that came out during this process, which I sat there and I watched it, and I was absolutely shocked when I think it was Ben Cotton brought out the fact that the day before the audit was to begin, that there were people messing around at the recorder's office, and that they had deleted over 9,000 directories and over 1 million entries. This is very concerning, and to me, this is criminal. And again, I'd say this is my opinion. This is criminal intent, and or with the leadership, criminal negligence. And this, I don't see where our Attorney General has any option but to pick this up. This is just downright criminal, because federal law, as you know, states that these records must be kept intact for 22 months, and that was a violation.
In Arizona, it's 24 months.
And they said, and you heard it, that they actually have video proof that these people were messing around with these files. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, we identified those individuals. We know their names.
And they work for the county?
Yes.
Okay, now there's also some discussion as to whether Dominion employees had access. And Josh, you can probably bring us up to date on some of the things here that was very troubling to me, and that is everybody had a password for this thing but me.
As you guys know, everybody had the same password.
Yeah, we're administration, or we're users, right?
You said username and password.
What we have discovered, there's cyber insecurity or unsecurity. You have deleted files, evidence destroyed. These are crimes. These are crimes. And you got duplicate ballots, internet history. That's been on the internet connection hooked to the election servers. Everything. That's all documented.
Remote access too.
Federal and state crimes. This is just things that you gotta go, okay, Attorney General, this is on you. You gotta be able to do something with this. Now you got something with a bow on it. Here's a nice packet, you got a bow on it. Here's the evidence. 90% of your investigation is done. All you gotta do is verify. So I'm very encouraged by this. So to say that we kicked the can down the road, I don't think so. Because we know what we can be able to go on a fast track and say, hey, it's the illegal election, and there's got to be a path.
Well, Gunny,
to reclaim the electors, and people need to be held accountable. Some people start going to jail.
My concern is with this thing. I watched the news over the weekend because I wanted to see how they were going to handle this, and of course, you probably did the same thing, and I know everybody here knows that they were essentially saying, well, there was a ballot recount, and Biden won, and he won by a greater number. That is the most ludicrous thing that I've ever. When you count something, as you said, if you count $1,000, we did a little thing before you got on. I asked Ray to give me a $5 bill, and I'd give him 5 ones, and of course one of the ones was just a piece of paper with my picture on it. And yeah, and so we had that problem. There's another one there that, and this thing, the media has not treated this fair. People are all over the United States now, and I've gotten lots of calls. I'm sure you have them too, Josh. People from friends from other parts of the country. Liz, you probably even had the same thing. People are calling me. Is this it? This is all there is? Is it somebody says that they counted it again and Biden picked up? That's your audit? No, that's not an audit at all. Just a recount.
They need to go watch the report that came out. They have a video, it's live streamed, go watch it. Because for anybody to think that or even trust anything they hear in the fake news, after all this time, I ask this, why would you believe anything that you hear from the news? Go look for it yourself. Go look it up yourself.
Josh, you brought up an interesting point. I don't know if Senator had a chance to hear it, but you said, in something that I know that he'd be very interested in hearing, is remote access. They had remote access? Sunday, do you know anything about that?
Again, violation of federal law.
That's foreign interference at its finest, right there.
Now, did they prove that they were? Did they say that equipment could be connected to the internet, or that it was connected to the internet, or do the routers have to be obtained to show that?
Well, you remember the county claimed that there was no internet hookup whatsoever. There's no Wi-Fi hookup. There's nothing. There's no way nothing could be accessed at all. county's been caught in so many lies. They're the ones that did themselves. They're the ones that actually performed the fraud. So, and they're the ones that actually perpetuated the big lie that this was a secure and fair election. There was nothing clean about it. Nothing clean about it.
So
everybody should be encouraged. And you're right, and I get the same report. Sonny, what's going on? The newspaper says this and that. I go, okay, you know the newspapers lie, right? Yeah. Well, why would you believe them now?
So Liz, given all of the information that's out there, why would our governor come out and say there will be no decertification via Twitter, right? Why would he do something like that?
Because
I don't know. I don't know. I think his staff need to tell him that there's a separation of powers. You know, that kind of rings a bell.
Is it up to him, Senator? Is it up to the governor?
The only thing he could do is call in a special session. And that would be great.
He needs to do that.
Well, if he's so confident that it's a great election, then he should call a special session and let everybody discuss it, like Sonny said, on the Senate floor.
Stop making sense, Josh.
Well, you know, it reminds me, you know, I come from Illinois, the land of Lincoln, and I have been a great admirer of Lincoln all my life. And Lincoln had a statement that I just love to quote constantly. And Arizona politicians, yes, sir.
Ron, yeah, I just want to know, did you have to change his sources?
I'm not that old, Sonny. Anyway, and this was something, and Arizona's politicians never knew this. Flake never knew it, McCain never knew it, Ducey doesn't know it. And that is, and this is Abraham Lincoln, 'tis better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And that's what Arizona has a tendency to do. It seems like all of our major, you know, like I say, McCain, Flake, they were good at this. And Ducey, the same thing. They open their mouth when silence would probably be the better part of valor.
Yeah, they can get away with it because they get the mainstream media to help them. You know, so.
How is this affecting the other states in their quest for a forensic audit?
It's actually encouraging, and people should not be discouraged. Look, you know, they said you dump things on a Friday if you want to bury it. Well, you know what? We want the left-wing media to bury their story over the weekend. Now it's time for all of us, all hands on deck, need to start spreading the truth. And that is the audit has been done clean, it's been done fairly, and the evidence that has been presented is accurate. I have no doubt that it's accurate, and it's going to get verified by the Attorney General. I mean, how many laws do we have to break, or do have to be broken for us to declare that this was an illegitimate election, that it should never been certified in the first place?
So where does, Ron, I knew you had this question, where does Stephen Richard fit in here? He's the current county recorder. He was in the election process, so he wasn't there when all this took place. But is that under his realm to look into this? Because I know he came out saying that everything was done correctly.
Steve Richard, you should listen to the admonition of Abraham Lincoln. It's better to remain silent, Steve, than to open your mouth.
Is he going to be...
Don't you find it ironic that a nice little dossier that he had on Adrian Fontes, he completely has amnesia over now?
Exactly, because 2 years ago we were beating him up.
Exactly right. And now he had nothing to do with this election. He should shut his mouth.
Well said, Tony.
He's just carrying the water. I'm really surprised and disappointed in Tuesday. You know what? Okay, you got to call it on a hot mic. Okay, dude, now it's time to come clean.
Yeah.
Now it's time to come clean. You hear? Okay, you made a mistake. You trusted those guys. Then we all make mistakes. We listen to staff. Sometimes staff. When I was on city council, I saw that. A lot of members had staff infections. You just go over there and staff infections. Me, I always did my own research, and we were all maintenance guys, worked with mechanics and everything else, and they would just tell me all kinds of stuff. And I don't know the stage, and they'll tell you, this is what I did when I was on the police. What if I'm not calling up soon or a company? I wouldn't talk to a senior sergeant or a lieutenant. I would talk to young troops. then PSCs and fires and land corporate will tell you all kinds of stuff. Now's a day, man. You know, it's stupid. And that's what I did on city council. Of course, that's why I made a mistake. They didn't make push me to come here. But you know, he should stay out of it. You know, he should have stayed out of it, been boring like he claims to be. But you know, technically, you know, you got to have some guts and stand up for what's right. But the county supervisors, they control his budget, and it is what it is. So.
I want to.
It's hard for him to stay out of something that you're complicit in.
I have a question for you, Josh. Why do you suppose that Chukwi, when he hung it up, why he gave such a long period of time before he removed himself from office?
Oh, you mean from the initial conversation back in March?
Yeah.
That was recorded?
Well, is that what
It's November before he's
Well, when he decided to leave office, he said, "Well, I'm not going to leave until November." Why so long?
Paychecks?
Yeah, I would say money, but that's my best guess.
Well, somebody's got to.
You had to be there so many years for pensions.
Yeah, they got to have a little replacement, I think. So give them time to adjust. You know.
Well, is there any decisions that need to be made by the supervisors between now and November that maybe he wanted to be part of?
That I'm not aware of. I'm sure there's probably a few things on his
Well, we're
list.
speculating. Once again, we're speculating. I would say, you know, what if grasshoppers had machine guns? Birds are messed. But we can get into what ifs all the time. I mean, they're going to have to make, they got to figure out a way to replace him to be on the board. If he needs some nonsense. Look, these are the guys that they need to step up and do what's right, and that's cooperate and clean this thing up. For them to keep doubling down on what staff keeps telling them when it's pretty obvious that we have a problem in the system, and it needs to be fixed. They should be able to take the high road. You know what? We are a forgiving country. We are forgiving people. We always look for redemption in people. You make a mistake, you own it, and you move on, and try to fix it. You know, the sin is doing the same thing over and over again. But what can I say? You know.
Sonny, let me ask you this. There's been some discussion here as to the involvement of Brnovich, who is our Attorney General, that because he's a candidate for the United States Senate, that he may kick the can down the road and throw this to the Supreme Court instead of trying to deal with it. What's your thoughts on that?
The U.S. Supreme Court?
Yes.
It kind of depends on the findings. I mean, this is a state issue. I mean, I really don't follow, but how can he kick the can down the road? This is his call of wax. This is what he does. Yeah, if he would have injected himself early on during the audit, during the audit, people would have connected, the media would have accused him only doing it for political reasons because he's running for higher office. Now that we're handing him all this evidence that has been made public, he has a duty and obligation. It's part of his job. So for him
I agree. I don't think he can duck this, to be honest
But
with
for
you.
him to step up and do his job right now, how can they can't say that he's doing this for political reasons. He's doing his job. And it's just not one, you know, the attorney general's in charge, but he's got a staff of a whole bunch of attorneys and investigators under his charge that he can get this accomplished in a very short time.
I think that's what scares me the most is the bar attorneys.
Huh?
I said that's what scares me the most is the bar attorneys.
Well, now we're going down another rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just focus on, but these people, you know, hey, look, we got to have faith in the system at least. You know, if the system, you have to keep pushing the system to make sure, because it will work. You just got to make sure it works. It works right.
Can you give us?
It will work.
Can you give us?
We got to have that faith in it, brother. Otherwise, we're just, you know what? We're just wasting our time.
Can you give us an idea of time frame? So now a majority or a lot of things have been brought to the attention of the Attorney General. What's the time frame for him to go ahead and act on this and that we can start seeing some results?
I don't know. I don't even want to speculate. And every time I speculate on a certain time, I said that way back in January, February, that this would have been wrapped up in a month or two. And here we are in, August, September, almost October.
Well, 10 months since the election.
But like I said, most of this investigation, the evidence is there, and he's just going to, their investigators actually they have their own way of getting things done to verify. I'm pretty sure they're going to look at Paul Woods Harris up and say, give us what you got, and let's verify that. It would have been nice if you don't have the money and all that kind of stuff, have a private investigator verify all of the findings. That way it's got a nice bow on it, and that way you got somebody who's licensed to actually testifying in court on what the findings, and then it's up to the other side to try to discredit, But if you got law enforcement to go out there and verify everything that Liz has, but you know what? Once again, hooked to the internet, that's a violation of federal law. That automatically should negate this thing and nullify these results because it's been tainted, especially when you're deleting files and you're deleting all this stuff. That's how much more do you need to say we can't verify who won or lost? I don't care what the paper says because the papers, the ballots are fraudulent in a way because we don't know how and where they came from. We have envelopes that got injected in the system. We have duplicates, triplicate votes. I mean, this thing is a complete mess. So technically, how do you certify that when it should not have, we have an uncertifiable election that got certified?
Well, Sonny, let's look at this from a perspective here. I'm getting some people that are texting in here, and so I think that the proper thing is to Branovich, and of course the president has, President Senate Fan has in fact asked Branovich to look at this. Okay, that's one leg of this. But the other, ladies and gentlemen, is to start bombarding Boyer with letters. And some of the other people in the House.
Not letters. Let him swear to open he took, because that's what happened here. Article 7 section says only legal votes count. He can't swear to that.
Good luck with that. I hope people succeed because I've seen emails he's responded to people and he says, you've been lied to, Biden won, I'm sorry, I'm not a never Trumper, I supported Trump, I voted for Trump, I don't hate Trump. I've read these emails and he's responded to constituents and guess what? I'm on my way.
Gunny, as a Marine, when you're going out into a particular area or theater, you know that you have a specific mission. It seems like from what you're saying that Boyer doesn't understand that the mission is not to put Donald Trump in as president, but to certify that my vote, your vote, the people in this office here, in this studio's vote, and all of those out there, that their vote counted the way they meant it to be counted. And to anyone to steal one single vote is criminal in my opinion. I've used this word before, criminal intent. Okay, and if somebody takes my vote, I know Neil and I during this last election we saw people that were bringing in ballot harvesting. We caught it. We tried to report it. Nobody took us serious about it. They went into the precinct committee. They were dropping their ballots in. We went in there. And this was a troubleshooter, Fontes troubleshooter, and asked us to leave because we were questioning why this guy came in with 8 or 10 ballots. And we claimed that, hey, this is against the law. But we were told to leave and get beyond the 65, 75 foot mark. And that's what they told us, or they would have us removed just because we were complaining about ballot harvesting. But nobody even got to us. I mean, nobody took a deposition. I wrote it up, and nobody ever got back to me and said, can you? And Mr. DeSantis, we had photographs. I took photographs, you took photographs. So there was no question, and that's against the law.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you. Maricopa County is a mess. And people need to step up and start volunteering and getting involved. And this is why these things happen. Apathy, people, just keep complacent. Oh, somebody else will do it. You're the guy that we elected to go do that. Hell, I can't even be in the polls.
Yeah.
So, people need to step up and start being involved.
Well,
Democrats are well organized. And by the way, California, Democrats work from the polls.
Yes.
I mean, that's a concern.
Of course it is.
Hey, every time we start to pass a bill to stop that stuff, you got the Dems are going to, call it voter suppression, and then the media pounces on us, and then of course the business community jumps on the bandwagon, like I did with Georgia, and did the same thing here. The Greater Phoenix, to the DPL, Greater Phoenix leadership, all the business conglomerates or whatever, in Phoenix jumped all over us about the injection bill on the mail-in ballot, the permanent pebble bill, which says if you haven't voted in the last 4 elections, you're going to get an order notification in the county. And if you don't respond, you'll just be dropped on the pebble list. You're still registered, but you'll be dropped on the pebble list. Well, they jumped all over that and said it's still voter suppression and blah, 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 blah. It's why it's extremely vital that we maintain a supermajority. I like supermajority because that way you can override the government. But we need to maintain a better majority rather than just one. Because then you end up with a problem like with Paul Boyer, and you're held hostage because they're the right.
Well, Gunny, let me I don't know that you were in the legislature back in about 2010. We did have a supermajority. And the Republican Party did have a supermajority, but there was always 1 or 2 clown Republicans that would pull back and vote with the Democrats. I remember even before that, we had 3 Republicans on some bills when Napolitano was governor, spending bills that were outrageous, and 3 Republicans voted with the Democrats to give them what they wanted. Now, Liz, they came up with some ideas, recommendations, which is what they should give the findings and recommendations. And I know that this table here, I know you, Josh, and Liz have come up with some recommendations. Could you tell us a little bit what you think needs to be done? And I know Gunny's probably heard this before, but our audience may not have heard them.
I would love to start. Okay, based on the canvassing research and what we've seen in the data, for me, this is for the entire United States of America, even though voting is state by state, and that is 1 day, 1 vote, no machines. We need to get the precinct sizes down to 1,000 registered voters or less. That's about the size they started at and have been up until we decided to go with these voting centers. So the reasons, the big reason for the smaller precincts, number 1, when you go and vote in person and you encourage voting in person, you're going to be able to recognize who shouldn't be there. The lines will be shorter, and that will enable a hand count. The hand count can be videographed, and then you're going to need strong voter ID when the people come to the precinct polling stations. Instead of giving all the money to the machine companies, let's pay the residents of Arizona to work the polls. I'm going to tell you, in the past we've been told we can't find enough people. I guarantee you, after what happened in 2020, you'll find enough people. We can count all the ballots by 10 p.m., call in the results by midnight, declare the winner, and then here's the most amazing part. The next morning, the same person is still the winner as the winner declared on election day.
Josh, do you have any comments on that?
I've been saying that for a good year and a half. Exactly what she just said. It's just like Sonny said, common sense isn't so common. And, having a one-day voting, no mail-in ballots, I think we should get rid of them completely. That's just my opinion. That's where the fraud is. And even the Carter, the Carter report that came out years ago said that. But then you also have, no ballot harvesting. I'm not talking about just Arizona. We know that's banned here, but across the country. And the only thing that should be given was the ballots if through the military or something like that. But even then, I would like to see those get notarized. I think anybody who gets sorry, slip of my mind right now, a ballot, not a mail-in, you should get it notarized. I want to know it's you sending it in. Yeah.
Military and the handicap.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, because you could even send to nursing homes, for example. You can send a notary to a nursing home.
Right.
And for an absentee ballot, they could get everybody done in that same day. So it can be done. It's just a matter of doing it.
Right. And I would add, Ron, on there is there should be something within the Arizona statutes that says after that, the next week or 2 weeks, that there's an automatic audit to make sure that everything was done correctly. Chain of custody, it doesn't hook to the internet.
Well, we won't have machines.
Don't want machines.
Yes, no, nothing was, even the phones aren't connected to the internet when they call it in. But everything was done correctly, so now you have a full election done in a prompt manner, and then a full audit to make sure that it was done correctly, and within a couple weeks, you're done.
Right. So one of the ways they're able to commit the 5-letter F word, which is fraud, the biggest way is they're able to continually suspend the voting counting. And by that, we had that stopping of the counting on election day that we all know about. And then they also, what I'm referring to as a suspend is that we have 10 days of counting. And that gives them plenty of time to figure out what's needed. And this is all going to come out because it's the truth.
If I remember correctly, the majority of duplicates was coming in after.
And the scribbles, all the
So
scribbles.
it's almost like they were trying to figure out how many they needed to inject in there to see, and make sure that Biden won, you know? I mean, that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
And let me tell you this, I had, through one of my businesses, a commercial Citizens Business League, we would collect signatures for candidates. And there were, Gunny, you know this, there's 10 signatures on a page. And most people write legibly enough that you can make out their name. And I have found that if you have average citizens going door to door, that most of the signatures are appropriate and you can read them. But if you pay these mercenaries, I call them, from California that come here, and they're going to get signatures, you look at a page, and maybe out of 10 signatures, 9 or 7 of them are illegible, which tells me that they're dummying up the signatures. You've probably seen that, Benny.
Yeah, that's why I have people help me with my signatures. I've never paid anybody to do signatures for me, but I do basically all the ones that qualify me, I get on my own. You know, just to make sure. And of course, you always get more than enough. But the vast majority of the signatures I get for my election, I get myself. But you're right. The paid people go out there and solicit and get signatures and just scribble on it and go through. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, and it's very costly to challenge this way.
Yes.
Getting back to election reform, most of those ideas are doable. I like them. It's accepted, but then we get back down to the doable. Can it get past the laws? Because you got retards that believe the media and are afraid of getting bad press or whatever. I like the early voting in person. 3 weeks of early voting. This way, we want to encourage people to get out and vote. We want to make it as convenient as possible. So I go down to the library on the first day of early voting, and I cast my vote in person. I show my ID, fill it out, the ballot envelope, and put it in the box myself.
Doesn't that dilute the meaning of election day?
Let me finish. I like to do that early, that way in case they get run over by a bus, my vote got in. But
They have buses out on the campuses.
It's a state holiday, I agree. Election day should be a state holiday. We call it Freedom Day or People's Day, whatever you want to call it. Election day should be a state holiday. Look, if they can shut down the state for a pandemic, we can plan for voting on election day, because they are for everybody to go. But you know what? You still got people that are overseas. You got over-the-road truck drivers. You got medical workers that want people to get to the on election day. The police, so on and so forth. I mean, you got some anonymity. You should be able to have that apply for that. And I think you need to go I want to sign up for a mail-in ballot. Here's my ID. Here's my social security number. And this verifies, and it's going to be an in-person verification, not what I get in mail that says you want to vote by mail, and then you just fill it out and send it in. I mean, that's ridiculous. I've got a constituent here that handed 2 letters that she got from the county where they were requesting, asking if they wanted to be on the mailing list. And they're identical. It's like, wait a minute. You know, so if somebody hijacks it, who knows? But anyway, we need to, tighten that up. Now, I met with a delegation of people from France last week. They came to part of the EU, they came out with a delegation, they wanted to check out the Grand Canyon, and they want to check out the border, and they were asking about the election integrity system. And I'm like, well, how do you guys do it in France? He says, we do a paper ballot, in person, show your ID. If you want a ballot and you need to drop off for somebody, that person needs to come with you to the police station to verify that that's the person on the envelope and you're delivering. Isn't that amazing?
Yes. Well, one of the things...
They don't have machines. So I believe in paper ballot, in-person voting. I like the smaller precincts, no more than 1,000 people. You know, when you start getting, the left wants to increase those precincts even more, like 5,000, 6,000. Why? Because it's easy to bury things. Well, you know what needs to be done by neighborhood? And you need to show your ID, in-person voting, very limited on if somebody gets a mail-in ballot, they have to request it, see it, firm, that kind of stuff. So they want to,
We hear this concept of voter suppression. We listen to this nonsense, and this is always coming from the Democrats. And that is, you know, and here's one of the things. In order
That's ironic, because they're the ones that wrote the book on voter suppression.
Yeah. And the thing here that bothers me is, voter ID can serve, your electric bill can serve as voter ID. No, it can't. I'm sorry, but I can give anybody my electric, hook up. I own property here, hook up, I don't know if you're...
It's just a lie to push so they can cheat. 81% of black and Hispanic voters want voter ID.
Yeah.
So they can't hide behind that
But the
anymore.
thing, Josh, is what the Democrats try to do. They'll say we're the racists.
I don't care what
When
they
in
say.
fact, they're the
I don't
racists
care.
to think that Mexican and black people are so stupid that they cannot get an ID.
It's very disrespectful to black and Hispanic voters.
And to that point, if you are, so they say, well, what about the poor people? The poor people, they can't get an idea. I go, whoa, time out. I had this argument with these idiots when I was in the House. And I said, wait a minute. You have to have 9 different forms of identification to get on state assistance. Access, SNAP program, TANF. You have to have 9 different forms of identification to get on state aid. Well, then how in the hell do they get on state aid if they don't have an identification?
Exactly.
So their argument is broke. It's a bullshit talking point.
All right, so Senator, where do we move from here? We have about 8 minutes left. We've had the first report done. There's lots of things coming down. I know there's a lot of people that are watching here because you're only hearing this on Hub Radio Phoenix. A lot of the mainstream media aren't covering it. Nobody's covering any of this. So where do we go from here? How can people participate? Can we write letters? Can they send information? How do they make the will of the people known to the state legislature?
Well, first off, we need to encourage, I said encourage, very nicely encouraged, the Attorney General, praising him for stepping up to the plate to investigate this criminal activity that's going on, and then hopefully he can indict some people, and then they start ratting out the people that told him to do stuff, and those people get indicted.
Good.
And it literally verifies all the things that we need to, justifies all the reforms that we just discussed about 5 minutes ago. And those are the things that need to be happening.
The Attorney General needs to look for the big fish.
Yeah, because the little guy's not the guy that does this, the little troubleshooter.
No.
So do you believe, Senator,
He needs to work with the little fish of this big giant pond that we're in.
Thank
Catch
you.
the big fish.
so you believe that the people should focus more on the Attorney General right now and not necessarily on the state legislature, even though they would be the ones who would who have the plenary power to decertify, correct?
Yeah, we go back to square one. Well, number one, we're not done doing our part of the audit. There's still more things that we're waiting to complete. We have the authority, but we do not have the power. The power is in numbers, 16 and 31. We do not have that 16 vote or the 31. And now that we have people, this is how confusing people are. You lost 2 Democrats. Why can't you pass this? Because the Democrats are not going to play anyway, and we need Republicans to do this. So we're a majority of 1. We're got the, pray that the Attorney General follow through and confirms our findings that there's too much criminal activity, that this is illegitimate elections, and then we'll take it from there. And then maybe we'll have some legislators get a backbone and conscience and do the right thing. All we can do is hope. Look, I'm doing the best I can. I'm the whip, but I can't force people to agree to come into a special session. So.
Well, we appreciate you. You're our go-to guy all the time, as you know. You probably got more airtime here than anybody.
More than you.
More than me.
So, Ron, we have talked a lot about this, again, is not a Democrat and Republican issue.
No.
This is a citizen issue. And if we can, just like John Brakey, who's been on here many, many times, he's very much on the other side, but he believes in integrity, just like the Convo Couch, our friends over there, us and everyone.
And they're progressives as well.
They're progressives, that they believe in election integrity. Let's focus on
progressives are communists.
All right,
let's pull them over.
All right.
I'm going to tell you what's going on right now. We've got a lot of the individuals that went down there and worked at the college season. And they're eyewitnesses to the things that they saw. We are going to get these people on tape and they're going to give their testimony and tell everybody, because that makes the media look like fools. Because they attacked the audit team, but they're technically questioning the integrity of all those people that were down there. And that is so it's full contempt for the citizens of Arizona, citizens of Maricopa County, that took the time off to go down there, vacation time, on their own, sacrifice time with their family to go down there for the painstaking work of the physical part of the audit. Those people need to be sued and praised 150%. And we need to get their testimony on tape and that into our social media and blast it to the world. Just how corrupt the system is in Maricopa County. And they need to be praised for that. And that needs to, look, it's all hands on deck now. We all know the facts. It's up to us to push the facts out and say, this is what needs to be done in all 50 states, by the way. All 50 states. Listen, if you scam 1,000 votes in each of all 15 counties, gosh, that's 15,000 votes right there that's skimmed and nobody notices.
Exactly. Now, if you get these testimonies, send some of them our way. We can certainly put them on here as well. If people have that desire to be made public, we're happy to do that as a public service.
I will reach out to you, Ron, and have these people reach out to you.
That's excellent.
Josh, was there a non-disclosure agreement for the people that were working there at the audit? And when does that expire? When can they actually talk?
I can answer that. That expired as soon as the briefing was done on Friday.
Okay, so they're free to discuss this.
They're free to discuss it with the media and anybody that wants to listen.
That's great.
And we encourage them to do that.
Yeah. Josh, where would they go to discuss this? Where do you have a resource that they could go to? And
I do have I have a resource. I have that resource. Reach out to you.
Okay.
Yeah, please ask.
I like going public. Go on social media. Talk about it. Just for them personally, they can do let the world know what happened or what they saw. And just like Sonny's saying, anything that's out there that's going to be told, why not be public? We don't have to be sneaky and secret squirrel behind the scenes. Go out and tell the truth and make it public. And then, like Sonny said, he has another way that he can get the word out.
Perfect example is Liz Hurst. Liz, you needed this job like you needed a hole right here. You have nothing to gain by any of this. You have everything to lose, but you stepped up to the plate. I wish more men had more backbone. But you stepped up to the plate. You had all your volunteers. You should get their testimony on tape also.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody that did this should step politically correct media with its propaganda. What we're experiencing right now is a psychological operation of disinformation, misinformation to demoralize and discredit anybody that's involved in this.
And we call, by the way, we call Liz Harris, we got a middle name for her. Liz Rockstar Harris. She's absolutely marvelous. I don't know how she's done this, but
She's an Energizer Bunny.
talk about someone that is dedicated to truth, justice, and the American way. It certainly is Liz.
All right, well, Senator, thank you so much.
No, this is, I've said this a million times. The oath that I took at 18 years old has not expired. I did not sign up and watch my country turn into a socialist communist utopia. I didn't sign up.
And a lot of veterans believe that, Ray. Let me tell you, when you see what happened in Afghanistan, you see the number of veterans that have gotten together to bring Americans back here.
And you're so right on. The amount of American blood and treasure that is spent helping some other countries to have free and fair elections. I came back with a flag that goes with a coffin or the name for life.
We're listening to Sonny Borelli, and we got to go now. Sonny, thank you so much. We'll be in touch with you because we're going to discuss this matter again on Wednesday on Fighting Back.
And I understand that Josh Barnett here is going to be running for political office as well.
I understand that too.
Where can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, he's another one that wants to complicate his life.
Follow the footsteps of Sonny Borelli. We'd like to thank Josh for being here, and especially Liz Harris. That's about the only time you get a chance to sit down, I think, Liz, is when you're on the show here. So we thank you all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you Wednesday night for Fighting Back on Hub Radio Phoenix.
Yeah.
Maybe. Keep your headphones on, Liz, please. I want to see how you like this.
Hi, this is Liz Harris, and I wanted to give a shout out to Hub Radio Phoenix. They have been amazing, especially when I ran for political office. They helped broadcast me, let the world know, and now that I'm involved in election integrity and helping prove that there was massive fraud here in Arizona, they have invited me on their show many times, and I am forever grateful. So please do watch Hub Radio Phoenix for the truth. Thank you.
The truth.